The Guardians' Major League roster is shaping up for opening day, but the minor league affiliates are going to have some fun rosters to watch too. We'll tell you what to watch for and rank the best ones on today's Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Guardians fans? Welcome on into another edition of Locked On Guardians. Thanks for being here with us. I'm Justin Latta, your host for the show for the last 4 years and counting. I'm flying solo tonight here on Locked On Guardians. We are brought to you by MLB The Show 26. Visit MLB.theshow/LockedOn. Use code LockedOn to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. MLB The Show is available now on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, Nintendo Switch, and is rated E for everyone. Stay tuned for later in the episode for our top 100 MLB highlight. On today's show, we're going to look into some of the predictions of the rosters on the Guardians minor league affiliates and ranking the best ones to watch. We'll dive deep and tell you who to watch for, what to watch for, and we'll also go over some of the MILB broadcasts too to help you with that. We'll get into the official spring breakout roster for Cleveland, which is happening today at 2 p.m., what to watch for in that game as well. So let's just kick it off right off the dot here. Let's start with Columbus at the top of things. And I'm going to share my screen if you're watching on YouTube because my buddy Arthur keeps track of all the rosters and with a nice big spreadsheet. So it's easy for me to look off of. I can go on roster resource too, but it is here on Next Year in Cleveland on Substack. You can check that out. The depth chart is there. The depth chart is not updated for 2026. Obviously the rosters aren't decided yet, but it will be rather soon. So let's look at how Columbus is going to shake out. So we know Cooper Engel is going to be the main starting catcher in Columbus. He's listed on the bench here, but he'll be the main starting catcher at Columbus with Cody Huff backing him up for defense, and he'll probably play some first base, whatever. But that'll probably belong to CJ Kayfus for the most part at first base. And I assume he'll get some time in the outfield, and that'll allow them to rotate in Cooper Engel at first base. Maybe Diane Frias gets in there at first base a little bit as well. And that also allows them to rotate Dom Nunez in there, who'll be their third catcher. Carter Kieboom can play some first base too. But your main two is going to be Cooper Engel and Cody Huff. Two guys that I think have major league futures. Engel, kind of a fringe guy, and he is sort of a top 100 for everybody else. Front of the show. Remains to be seen how much he's going to hit. Got to have some stronger defensive skills developed. And then Cody Huff, defense first guy. And then, like I said, Kayfus is going to handle first base. And I think it's obviously Travis Bazzana is going to be in Columbus to start the year. And the question is going to be for how long, right? How long will he be in Columbus for? So if you're looking to get a glimpse of Travis Bazzana in the minors, you want to go to Huntington Ballpark pretty early on to see him because who knows how long he'll be there for. And that'll make them one of the most interesting affiliates. You'll see Juan Brito at second, but Bazzana is going to play the majority of second base. So Juan Brito, who I don't think is making the opening day roster at this point for Cleveland, is going to have to move around. So you might see him at first base. I'd imagine you're going to see him in the outfield a little bit as well. Stuart Fairchild has not been reassigned yet to the minors, so there's still a chance he gets a major league job. So that opens up a spot in AAA for two. I think you'll see Milan Tolentino handle shortstop. And look, he's a great glove guy. He's hitting well in AAA, but the reality is he's hit well in AAA, and that's about it. And there's a reason for that because AAA pitching obviously isn't major league pitching, but B, Huntington Park is a hitter's haven. And if you go look at his splits from the Huntington Park and on the road, it's a drastic drop off from what he's done there. It's quite a bit. And the strikeout rate's very high. I'm not very high on the bat, but I think the glove is good, and he'll be a good utility infielder for somebody. Huntington Park last year, 836 OPS on the road, 671. So you can clearly see that he took a lot of advantage. He hit 21 home runs, 14 were at home. So he loves himself some Columbus, and the power obviously is there. I think it's just he's not going to get to it as consistently anywhere else. The defense is good too. I would expect a rotation at third base between Carter Kieboom, Diane Frias, maybe Juan Brito. That's who you're going to see play a lot of third base. So the infield's going to be very interesting. Kayfus, Bazzana, Tolentino, Kieboom, Brito, and then Frias. The outfield in Columbus should be really good. Honestly, this should be an outfield that We'll track down a lot of baseballs, although I think Jonathan Rodriguez is going to play at a lot of right and left field, maybe not. But the two guys in the outfield there, Petey Halpin and Khalil Watson, that should be a lot of fun. Watson's and Halpin have both impressed people in camp this year. Both might get a major league look at some point this year, so that could be a lot of fun, right? So I think the lineup in Columbus is going to be really good. I mean, again, Bazana, Kafis was really good in AAA last year. He should be up another shot in the majors at some point this year. And obviously Bazana should be up too. So I think the offense will be good in Columbus just because it's easy to score runs there. And the outfield should be good too. Rodriguez hits AAA pitching very well. Not a good defender, but he'll hit, and that'll be a good offense in AAA. And you're going to see a good concentration of prospects between Bazana and Kafis down there, and possibly Cooper Ingle if you're into that as far as how much upside is there. The pitching is going to be also a lot of fun. I mean, you're going to have Doug Nikhazy and possibly Parker Messick starting in AAA, depending on how things play out the fifth spot. You have those, or I guess it would be Logan Allen if they don't. So you have those two guys there who are good pitchers to have on reserve. I think Cal Stevens should start the year in AAA. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts the year in AA, but when we get to the AA rotation, you'll see why I think he should start in AAA. So that could be a good front three. Austin Peterson will be on the IL to start the year. He won't be available till June, but he'll be around. I don't know what role they're planning for Daniel Espino. And I said before, don't be shocked if Daniel Espino is in Arizona to start the year and not Columbus. Doesn't mean he's not healthy, but they're trying to carve out a path for him of what role makes the most sense to keep him healthy and help him impact the Guardians later this year. And of course, you've got Will Dion, you've got Trenton Denholm, Ryan Webb, who can fill in the rotation as well. In the bullpen, you'll have Franco Aleman, who could find his way up and down the roster. At some point, Cody Hoyer also has options, and I really like what he's done this spring. So he'll be a good guy to have on reserve in AAA as well. Jake Miller had a taste of AAA last year. He was a really good reliever at Akron. Has the cutter, the splitter, the sweeper. I think it's a changeup. I'm not sure, but he was pretty good at Akron. I think he had some hard adjustments once he got to AAA to use the Major League Baseball, which again, I want to point out, the baseball, if you haven't heard me say it 1,000 times before, the baseball at AAA is the same one as MLB, but AA and below, it's a different baseball. And the only answer I get on that is it's probably about production and dollars. Weird, very weird. Steven Perez, who was a minor league free agent, the Guardians re-signed this past offseason, was Rule 5 eligible. No one took him. He's had a bit of an up and down spring because again, he's also pitching with the Major League ball for the first time, I think, and he got reassigned. I could see him starting Columbus. I could also see him starting in Akron as well, but because there may not be a need in AAA. And it depends on what they do with Colby Allard. If he accepts an assignment, Tanner Burns and Tommy Mace and Jack Leftwich are still hanging around, but they're not on the 40. And Franco Aleman is, and Trevor Steffen's not as well. He should be there. We've seen Steffen really focus on the last couple of outings, throwing his splitter and his slider, getting away from his fastball because it's down 4 miles an hour from his pre-TJ days. So you'll have your Major League rotation depth options, and whether it's Messick or Allen, Nikhazy, and then you'll get possibly Steffen. You'll have Dion and Webb and Denholm. Aaron Davenport's out for the year. Tommy John. That's a really solid rotation, and the lineup I think is pretty exciting too. And AAA though, it's never always an exciting level because unless you have most of your top prospects on the cusp, which there are a lot in this case for Cleveland, but you get a lot of holding pen guys for guys you want to call up. Like that's why you get the Cody Hoyers, right? Or the Carlos Hernandez, who, won't pitch this year because of his car accident. He won't pitch for a while. Colby Allards, like you'll, and if Stuart Fairchild goes there, you get a lot of guys who are down there as depth. So that makes AAA a little bit less exciting from a prospect standpoint, but it should be a team that's going to win some games, I would think, if you're into that kind of thing in the minors. And Huntington Ballpark is a great place to see a game. Great ballpark, great sight lines, great amenities, parking right across the street. I love that you can literally hit a home run over that right field wall and could bounce into the street off of you. So there's a lot to do in Columbus. I'll be down there at some point this year for a game, probably at the end of June, but it should be an interesting roster. I just hope by the time I'm down there, Daniel Espino is there pitching and Travis Bazana is up in Cleveland, not in Columbus. All right. We're going to go through the rest of the affiliate rosters. I'll tell you who I think is making the Akron Rubber Ducks, and then we're going to get into the rest of them, and we're going to rank which of the affiliates is best, and we're going to get into the spring breakout game rosters, and what to watch for on the rest of today's Locked On Guardians. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. You can use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood predictions market changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when the momentum shifts, you can move with it. Always knew how to play the game. We never knew a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now you can take part live in the market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Every play can be traded with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S., download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. And we know MLB opening day is right around the corner, a week from today, believe it or not. And you can feel it. The expectations, the first crack of the bat, and the AL Central Division race we know is going to go down to the wire. You want to be at the ballpark for it. And the only problem is getting tickets can be a pain no matter where you live. You get surprise fees. Opening day is usually sold out. That is where there's Gametime. It's the app that gives the advantage back to fans like us. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's simple to use. And the Gametime guarantee means you get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. And the price you see is the price you pay. All the fees are included up front. I've used it multiple times to go to events last minute when I'm deciding, or I just want to find a good price, or if we just want to go last minute in general. It's always a good option. 2 taps, you're done. No stress, no hidden fees, great seats and minutes. It's what makes it so easy to decide last minute. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create your account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. You are running out of time to use the code MARCH to get your first month of the Everydayer Club here at Locked On free. If you're listening to this after 12:15 on Thursday, March 19th, you're out of time. But if you listen to it before, go to lockedonguardians.supercast.com, use the code MARCH. You get a free month of the Everydayer Club. It gets you the ability, if I can talk, to sign up for the NCAA tournament, bracket pools with us on Discord. You can compete against us, compete for $100 in Locked On merch if you're the winner, or the right to talk trash or complain about your brackets with us when they're busted in members only chats. So head on over to lockedonguardians.supercast.com, use the code MARCH before the first game tips off to join in. All right, let's move on to the Akron Rubber Ducks. I think this is going to be a good roster as well. Lots of reasons to head down to Akron. Also, another fantastic ballpark, by the way. I love that ballpark, especially. We'll see what happens. They have new ownership, so I have no idea what's going to happen with new ownership there and a new GM. But I love what the last owner did and the GM with the ballpark, and I'm eager to see what changes they make. But it's been a great ballpark, and there's less construction down there now, so it might be a little bit better. In Akron, you're going to have the catching tandem of Jacob Cozart and Cameron Barstad. Obviously, Cozart's going to get the lion's share of the playing time there, but that's the guy you're going to want to watch because Jeff's not as high on Cozart as I am. I'm a little bit higher. I compared him to Austin Hedges a little bit, but Jeff is right. Like Austin Hedges was a top prospect as a high school player and hit a lot in the minors. Cozart hasn't hit as much in the minors, but he did kind of start to break out last year, at least found some footing offensively. And the defensive tools, I think, are real. So I think that makes him for at least a major league backup role. And Barstad is depth. Obviously, the guy you're going to want to go see there the most is Ralphie Velasquez. He's having an incredible spring. I've literally been looking at, it's this site called prospectsavant.com. It's like MLB Savant, the StatCast page, but for minor leaguers. And they have spring training data there. I think we've shared it a few times on YouTube, and I've put it out on Twitter and the Discord before, but I literally check Ralphie Velasquez's prospect savant page, like every plays every time. And the numbers are just so good. The max exit velocity is good. Hard hit rate's good. Pulling the ball in the air, good. Not striking out. The walk rate could be better, but it's okay. He doesn't swing and miss. Chase could be better, but he's making tons of contact, which is awesome. And I'm just really excited about him. So there's a lot of reasons to go to the ballpark in Akron to go see him at some point this season. If you want to go check out the ballpark down there. The other part of that roster I think you're going to see is Angel Henao. Should be a really good one. And that's the guy who's going to play shortstop. I'm hoping, last year was just a bit of a mulligan for him, considering he started the year late. He was hurt. First taste of AA. He's a younger guy. I'm expecting a bigger year for him. He might have some things exposed at that level, offensively speaking. Because I don't know that we're talking about someone who's going to be like a huge offensive contributor, but he should be an offensive contributor. Christian Knapsack, I think, is going to end up playing a lot of second base at that level. I don't see a lot of other guys who will see time at second base. Jose Devers should be there. Jose Devers hits the ball hard for a smaller guy. He's got a great arm. He's a good defender. Really utility guy, though, I think. So he's going to bounce around the infield. I might still have Tyrese Turner, but Alex Mooney should man third base again. Didn't have the best year in Akron last year, and it's been a tough draft pick for him. Been a tough year for him, so we'll see what happens this year. I'm not really confident on that, but he'll probably play a lot of third base for them. And the outfield's going to be interesting. You're going to have Alfonso Rosario, who will be the best outfielder at that level, I think, to start the year. Obviously, the tools are there. He really struggled when he got to Akron last year. We'll see. He didn't also have a good AFL, which is also alarming. Maybe Ralphie gets some more time out there. I think he should at this point. And then you have Wilfredo Antunez, who is an interesting name, just a name alone, but also, has some tools. I've talked about him before, and he is able to hit the ball hard when he makes contact. I don't love the approach, but he runs well. He's got a great arm. So there's some tools there as well. The other outfield spot, if it's not Rosario, if it's not Ralphie playing the outfield, like Jake Fox and Guy Lipscomb will mix in. I think they'll give Jonah Avincula some time there. I like him a little bit too. A lot of fourth outfield types there. I think besides Ralphie and Henao, and I guess if you're into Alfonso and Rosario, the pitching is probably what's going to draw you to Akron this year. So you're going to have Yorman Gomez starting there, who is on the 40-man roster. We should finally see Tugboat, Matt Wilkinson graduate to AA. Josh Hartle got there last year. I'm excited to see what he does. There's a chance you'll see Cal Steven there. I talked about in the first segment. I don't think he will be there because they should have enough arms to cover that level. You'll still have Dylan DeLucia, who should be there. So between Gomez, Tugboat, Hartle, and DeLucia, that's 4. And I think you got to move up Caden Favors. Caden Favors, I don't know if he's a starter long term, but he had some interesting stuff at high A last year. So I think there's a reason to keep him in the rotation. So there are 5 guys there. There's Rorik Maltrud, who's a bounce around guy too, who could be in the mix. Add Rondy Boone, depending on what they decide to do. So if they wanted to put Cal Steven in AAA, they could. There's room for it, depending if they want to do a 5-man rotation or a 6-man rotation at AA to start. In the bullpen, you'll have Magnus Ellerts and Zane Morehouse, who are both interesting arms. Matt Jasek and Jack Jasiak are both interesting arms too to watch. And then Jay Driver, who's a side armor from Harvard, who has a lot of control issues, but, again, he's a side armor, so he's interesting. But I don't know how good that bullpen's going to be. Like, you're going to have, like I said, Ellerts and Morehouse have big stuff. Jasek has been, kind of underrated. Jasiak was underrated last year. They could be like sleeper relief prospects. The rest of them will probably kind of be roster fillers. So Akron should have a pretty good roster. And then that's going to be interesting throughout the year. Like, is Ralphie Velasquez going to graduate out of there? Like, Henao spends most of the year there. Cozart spends most of the year there. The only guy I think that'll move up to AAA from there is if Cal Stevens starts there too, as far as pitchers go. And then Gomez and DeLucia could move up too. So this is going to be a good rotation. You're going to have a few hitters. It probably won't be the deepest lineup, but the pitching should be fun. And I think you'll have at least a couple of exciting guys to watch there every night. And I have found the Eastern League has a lot of good broadcasts too. Erie has a great broadcast setup. Altoona has a great broadcast setup. Akron does too. The only thing that's disappointing about Akron's broadcast setup, if you're watching on MLB TV, is they don't have velocity painted in with it, so it's kind of frustrating. The Hartford Yard Goats have one of the best video setups as well. Harrisburg is okay. Richmond's okay. Richmond gets a little bit grainy at times. New Hampshire's pretty good. So there's a lot of good Eastern League video setups if you're going to watch an MILB TV. So that'll be fun. AAA does as well. I mean, Columbus is a great one. I think Nashville's really good. Louisville's pretty good. They're all pretty good in AAA. Like they all are high quality. AA, not everybody's really good, but most of them are pretty good. All right, we got to talk about 2 more levels. We're going to rank these levels by the best one I think we're going to have. We'll get into the spring breakout game rosters. We'll tell you what to look for there to wrap up this episode of Locked On Guardians. Stay tuned. Today's Top 100 MLB highlight is brought to you by MLB The Show 26, the latest from our favorite baseball video game franchise. Each week, we're highlighting the stars of MLB's top 100 players list, the elite names you get to control and build around and go head-to-head with in MLB The Show. Today, I want to look at how many former Guardians made the list. We've got Francisco Lindor at 12, Junior Caminero at 31, Yandy Diaz 64, Josh Naylor at 81. With Jose and Quan on the list and Cade Smith, who should have made the list, that's 7 out of the top 100 who came through Cleveland. So identifying talent, good here. Keeping it, different story. With the Guardians, you get the gang back together. And in the show, you can do that with MLB franchise mode. It lets you be the guys the way we talk about them every day. Their clutch moments to breakout season, superstar traits. This week's MLB Top 100 highlight is presented by MLB The Show 26, where you play, manage, and build with your favorite players and teams. If you love talking baseball, you're going to love the game even more. Visit MLB.show Locked On. Use code Locked On. You're going to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty, available now on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, Nintendo Switch, rated E for everyone. And starting today, college basketball, it is literally nonstop. We've got big games all day long. We're going to see some tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. We're going to have tip-offs that are going to be early and late. There's going to be action on the board for days. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Go in there, select your game, set up your parlay, mix together spreads, totals, player props, however you see it playing out. Ride with one of your teams. Go bold. The teams you've been following all season long. Maybe you want an upset early on. You want to ride with that. You can apply it to the profit boost and instantly bump potential payout, your parlay, your style, even more upside behind it. Head over to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game all tournament long. Guardians fans, appreciate y'all being here with us every single day. You know, we're talking Cleveland Guardians baseball with you every day on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We appreciate being part of your daily routine, making us your first listen today, every day, wherever it is that you are getting podcasts. Shout out if you're an everyday, or shout out if you're an insider. All of those people, and if you're commenting on YouTube, we appreciate that as well. Here talking Guardians baseball with you every single day. Keep up to date with us and the roster and the entire organization by hitting the bell on YouTube, so you get notified every time a video goes live. So we are reacting to games, are posting the episodes, any other kind of bonus content we do. You know, I was live after the World Baseball Classic with Sully of Locked On MLB. So if you're into that thing, we did a live stream after that fantastic finish in the WBC between Venezuela and the U.S. Go back and check that out. But if you hit the bell on YouTube, you would have been notified if we were going live. And you can always auto-download on all your audio platforms that you listen on and take us wherever you go to talk Guardians baseball anywhere. I love that. Talk Guardians baseball, you know, at the gym, in your car, whatever. All right, let's look at Lake County now. That's the next roster we're going to break down. This is probably going to be a very limited lineup to start. It's going to be centered around Jace Lavalette, who I believe should start there. He's healthy. I don't see any reason to put him in high A, because he played in the SEC in Texas A&M. There's literally no reason for him to play in low A. He should be in high A to start, especially considering he missed all of last year in terms of minor league games. Garrett Howe and Riley Nelson, who are part of Garrett Howe is the draft class 2024, an infielder who does a lot of things well, but doesn't really have like a standout skill. Riley Nelson has some power. I'd imagine he'll be the first baseman for the most part at high A. I think he should be. I think he's ready for that. He played at Vanderbilt. I don't love all the upside there, but I think there's at least some interesting stuff there, and he should be the first baseman there every single day. I think Welbin Francisca needs to graduate to high A. He missed time, or he didn't miss time, but he's spent parts of 2 years at low A. He was hurt a little bit last year. He did miss some time, but I think he's ready for high A. I think he needs to advance the next level. He's still pretty young, but I want to get a look at him in person personally and see what he's got. I've never been the biggest fan. Maybe that'll change if I see him in person. Jason Churio probably comes back to Lake County to start because he missed time with the shoulder injury. So that'll give up 2/3 of your outfield. I forgot Dean Curley at third base. Look, Dean Curley, I think, is going to be pretty good at Lake County. I do. I think he's going to hit at that level, and defensively, we'll see what happens. He's got some things to work on with his throwing arm. Nothing different than Alex Mooney, who had throwing issues too, but Alex Mooney hit that level, and I think Dean Curley can hit at that level too. Nick Mitchell should be in the outfield to start the year. He might get to Akron soon. Because he missed some time last year too, but he'll be back, I assume. And then I think Nolan Schubart probably rotates between first base and the out, or maybe he'll try to play the outfield, but probably DH for the most part in Lake County. You'll have power with Lavalette and Schubart. I think that's a level they should be able to handle. Dean Curley can hit, so that should be fun. You'll have speed in the outfield. I think Lavalette and Churio and Mitchell all run well enough. I would say pitching will be very interesting at Lake County. I'm excited to see what the rotation looks like. You'll get Braylon Dowdy there. I'm pretty confident Braylon Dowdy will be your opening day starter at Lake County. Jackson Humphreys will be back. He needs to throw more strikes. Michael Kennedy, who was a piece of the the now fabled Luis Ortiz trade, he'll still be at Lake County. He missed some time last year. I think Rafe Schlesinger stays in the rotation at Lake County for now. Franklin Gomez is the guy I think I'm most excited to see this year. That's the guy they got from the Mets in the international bonus trade back when the signing period was open. He could be a really fast mover, I think, if he gets things together. The bullpen, you'll have some guys like Logan McGuire soaked up some good innings last year at Lynchburg. Xavier Martinez. I think Lake County will have Cam Schulke, which will be fun. You get to see that funky delivery here in Lake County. Roddy Rivera is an interesting arm too to watch. So it could be an interesting rotation in Lake County to start the year. Jogley Garcia could be there if he's healthy. Sean Matson. So there's a lot of interesting guys. Lake County could be an interesting team, but it's going to be kind of top heavy in terms of hitters. And then the pitchers, you're going to get a lot of repeats besides Gomez and Dowdy for the most part. Lynchburg, I think it's going to be tough to tell what they're going to do there because we don't know how fast they're going to move guys from last year's draft, right? Catching won't be very special there. Like you're probably going to have Logan Clark or Tyler Howard and Cannon Peebles, who's a great name. Love that name, Cannon Peebles, as the catcher. Not a lot of upside there. Anthony Martinez probably plays first base. He was the one of the California draft picks. First base, you got Luis Morejo. I think he needs more time in Lynchburg. So that at least gives you some interesting upside there. Second base, I think you'll see Dory Fernandez. He got to Lynchburg late last year. A very aggressive approach at the plate, but an interesting hitter. One of those up the middle, high contact guys that Cleveland has taken before, internationally speaking, but we'll see where he plays. I think Luke Hill probably starts out there. Anthony Silva, those guys were all part of last year's draft class from the SEC. I'm sorry, TCU is still the Big 12. Yeah. They'll get chances to repeat low A to start. And then the outfield should be interesting too. Like I think Uniker Caceres, who spent part of the year last year there, should get more time in Lynchburg this year ahead. So he'll be fun to watch. Aaron Walton, who can play a good outfield. We'll see if he hits. I'd rather see him start in low A if you're going to have Lavalette in high A. There's a chance he starts in high A just because he played in Arizona State, but I would think it's more likely he's in low A to start. Yerlin Luis is a fast guy who could play the outfield too. He should be up there. Robert Arias, there's a good chance Robert Arias starts in Lake County as well, or I'm sorry, Lynchburg. He's a guy a lot of people are excited about. I personally not that high on him yet just because it's another small contact-oriented outfielder that Cleveland takes from the international ranks. But we'll see. Could prove me wrong. Pitching, obviously, this is the lowest level of affiliated ball, but pitching is going to be really young. I think the rotation is going to be really interesting to watch because most likely your rotation in Lynchburg is going to be something like Joey Oakey, unless they thought he showed enough at the end of the year to go to Lake County. Chase Mobley should both be there. I think Will Hines will get there. I don't know if Will Hines will start in Lynchburg, but I think he'll get to Lynchburg. Aiden Major should be back ready to go, a 2024 pick out of West Virginia. We'll see if Ryan Prager is ready, but he's, top down at 87 with the fastball. So I don't really know what you're going to get out of that if he goes there. And then I think Melquis Hernandez, I forgot to mention him. He's a lefty who throws pretty hard. He could go to Lake County, but there's a chance he could start back in Lynchburg as well. So like this is another interesting roster. Like you're going to have a mix of young guys between Fernandez, Caceres, Mobley, possibly Oki, maybe Jacob Zibin, depending on when Will Hines gets there and if Aaron Walton is there as well. Morejo. There should be some interesting guys there. If I had to rank these in order, I think because Cleveland is more top heavy with prospects right now, especially because the pitching, I believe Cal Steven will be at AAA. I believe it'll be Parker Messick and you'll have Daniel Espino there at some point. Plus you're going to have, Bazana and Kafis and Cleo Watson and Petey Halpin. I think Columbus this year is the best affiliate to start the year based on what I'm projecting. Doesn't always happen that way, like I said, but they're going to have the most. And that's because I think a lot of Cleveland's prospects right now are very top heavy. Akron's going to be a lot of fun too. Like I said, Ralphie, Hanau, Gomez, Hartle should all be there. That'll be a lot of fun. And then I think after that, it's probably Lake County. Although I could see them in Lynchburg being even because I don't know who's going to be pitching between the two of them. This also assumes health, and I don't know who's healthy and who's not. Those two are kind of tied, but I think very clearly Columbus and Akron, based on the way the system is set up, I think those are the best two rosters. Midwest League has a fair number of decent broadcasts. Lansing by far is the best. So is Great Lakes. And West Michigan's also really good in that level. Trying to think who else is in that league that's got really good. Really good. So, Dayton Dragons. Dayton Dragons have the best one, if you ask me. So they're fantastic. If you're watching on MILB TV, and then the Western teams, I don't even know who they play at this point on the West divisions, but they're okay. And then I gotta say, this is no reflection of those teams, but Lynchburg, I'm sorry, not Lynchburg anymore. They're the Hill City Howlers, not even Lynchburg anymore. The Hill City Howlers. The Carolina League probably has the worst of the TV setups, and that's just a reflection of the level, right? It's low A, so they probably pay the least, and they spend the least. So Fredericksburg is the class of the MILB broadcast. I've never been to any of these stadiums, to be honest with you, but those are I've been by the Myrtle Beach Stadium before. They are by far the class. The rest of them, I think Kannapolis is actually pretty good. But the rest of them are all, I'd say fairly below average in terms of broadcasts. Let's look real quickly here. Let me know what you think of the division rankings or the affiliate rankings and how I think these rosters are going to stack up and what you think of them the way I have them projected. Very quickly, let's look at the spring breakout roster that's coming up today at 2:00. Your pitchers are Braylon Dowdy, Joey Oki, Josh Hartle. Very exciting right away. Yorman Gomez, those are your starters. Matt Wilkinson is in there as well. I cannot confirm this at this time of the recording, but have heard that Yorman Gomez is maybe the probable starter for this game. It could be Dowdy, but I've heard people saying they think Yorman Gomez is starting this game. The way it went last year was Parker Messick, Austin Peterson, and Tugboat. So they had 3 starters and they had a couple relievers at the end. So I would bet on seeing, Dowdy and Yorman Gomez and maybe one of Oki or Hartle, depending on how that goes. Your catchers are Engel and Cozart. That should be a 50-50 split, although they want to make sure they save one catcher for injury purposes. Bazana is not on the roster, not really a shock, but you do get Ralphie, you get Hanau, so you get that double A combination I talked about before. You get Dean Curley, who should be interesting to watch. Gabriel Rodriguez is on this. There's a chance he could be in Lynchburg at some point this year, I guess, early on. Nolan Schubart. I mentioned Devers and Tolentino. They're kind of the infield fillers, but I would expect Ralphie at first, Hanau at short, possibly Rodriguez or Fernandez at second and Curley at third. Schubart at DH. You've got Jace Lavalette. Should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of power in that lineup. Ralphie has power. Lavalette has power. Schubart has power, even though he's a strikeout guy. Caceres is in that around that roster. Churio, Watson, Rosario, all guys, well, except for Churio with some power. Robert Arias, Wilfredo Antunez, and Nick Mitchell. It's gonna be exciting game. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can check that out at MLB TV MLB TV or MLB.com as well. I'll be watching that live. Let me know if you are going to watch it. If you have time to watch it, let me know what you think of the roster projections for the minor leagues, who you're excited to watch this year, and give me your rankings as well. Going to be back tomorrow with a good old-fashioned mailbag episode, so I'll be calling out for questions from our everydayers and our insiders for the episode. So make sure you check out the Everydayer Club or join subtext.com/LockedOnGuardians to get in on the mailbag. Thank you all for tuning in today, and we'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, go Guardians go. Check out the spring breakout game.